Everyone, welcome back to Socials Podcast. If you're new here, this is a Socials Podcast. We're a lifestyle brand here to normalize cannabis through conversations, and we provide a safe space for everyone to speak their opinions on anything with cannabis. Anyone in the industry, or whether you're a consumer or you're a non-consumer, we're willing to talk to anyone who wants to talk with us. And I have here on episode 10 my boy Johnny, or actually Inspired by Cannabis.
Inspired by Cannabis.
Yep,
Hello,
yep.
everyone. How you guys doing? Hopefully, you're having a great day on a Monday.
Yeah.
Inspired Mondays.
Exactly. So for those of you that are new here, we do our audio release on Wednesdays on Spotify at 4:20, and then we do our video drops on the following Monday on YouTube and the WeTube at 4:20. And also something new we're doing is I'm going on weekly lives every Friday with Brittany. Shout out at Brittany. It's Brittany with two Y's, Michelle, all in one. I think it's all caps as well. Follow her on Instagram where we do that, and where we just talk more on a personal level and just keep people up to date with the upcoming events. So yeah, it's something definitely we're doing weekly giveaways as well. So be on the lookout for that. We got a lot of things coming up, so we're looking to wrap up season 1. We have a couple episodes left, but this is awesome, man. I'm so glad to have you here. It's again, you've been here multiple times, so this is nothing new. So
No, thank you, and I totally appreciate every single time that you have me here. So thank you.
yeah, man, we really we work well together, and we go to networking events, and I appreciate what you've shown me in this industry. So yeah, we actually did on Friday. We did a post where on our story we asked what are some of the trending topics that people want to hear. So we decided one. And the question was, what are some new ways to intake cannabis? Shout out our previous guest at Justin Curious. He was the one who came up with that question. Yeah, so I have to ask you, man, what are some new ways, man? I've seen some stuff. It's
New
crazy.
ways. There's so many new ways. There's a lot of things out there, and people being innovative. A lot of brands are coming out with a lot of new types of ways to consume, and it's a great time to be alive because it's like I remember smoking out of a can.
Yeah, or an apple, or people finding their way. I've even heard people smoking out of like a beer can, or they put water bottle, a pencil. I don't even know. It's all sorts of things. I've done a pumpkin before. It's crazy.
A pumpkin through vegetables, and I saw a thing with pineapples earlier.
I've seen a watermelon one. But those are always new ways. I've seen
Those are old fashioned,
right?
we're going back,
right,
from the very beginning.
Exactly.
But to answer your question, the newest one that I know of that I've just started seeing out, but I did meet them in person at Hall of Flowers, is Amora. So it's like a different type of delivery system. It's a different type of vaporizer where they have actual flower cartridges.
Oh, wow.
So they're biodegradable. That's, and you're able to like insert them and then you smoke them. And then after you're done using them, you just move on to the next thing. So the next little cartridge. And I haven't tried it myself, but I've seen it. I've seen a demo, and then I have a friend that has it. So hopefully I get to try it soon. There's that one. Another one that's really cool, and we're both friends of is Ghost Vape. Ghost Vape. They
big shout out to
Ghost Vape. They're an amazing team. The way you use it, it's like it has like a little crucible thing that kind of pulls out, and then you pack the little bowl with some flour or like some concentrates.
Yep.
And then you just heat it up, and then it's really efficient. I like how it like actually allows you to taste all the terps in the flour. So shout out to Ghost Vape. That's another one. The other one is the Dart. I don't know if you've seen it.
It sounds familiar.
It first came out, like Moxie first came out with them, like a little Dart. But actually I have one here. Real quick, I could show you. So it's the Dart, and the ones that have it is like Bloom, ABX, Abstracts, and Moxie. They're the ones that have it. So this is
I've seen that now, yeah.
This one here.
Mm-hmm. I like the sort of rounded tip it has and the little pods.
Yeah. So
yeah, they're awesome. Moxie was at the High LBC event last Thursday. We were there. That was awesome. I got there really late, but it was a great event. Shout out to High LBC. They have their events every Thursday And shout out to LBCA.
Every Thursday.
Every last
last
Thursday.
Thursday of the month. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, my guy.
Yeah. No worries.
But yeah, another new way is we also know is the guy who asked the question is Justin Cures on Instagram. Infused, they have actually inhalers where you can consume cannabis that way.
Yes.
That's next level, man. That's so wow.
I'm still trying to figure out how they did it.
Right?
We're gonna have to try it and see for ourselves.
Exactly.
Like just the way the system, the delivery system is different in inhaler. But like how long does it take for it to like hit you, or how long does it last? Like what's the after effects? How do you feel?
Yeah.
And like what type of strain is it? Is it indica sativa? So that's a whole nother level, like whole nother thing. So I'm excited to try that. That's dope.
I can't imagine. Oh, it's gonna be exciting.
And then edibles too.
Yeah.
Well, that's not new, but they're coming out with edibles as well. Shout out to, what is it called? Their company. It's Infused.
Oh, Infused. Yeah, that's Justin's company.
With the N.
Yeah, N hyphen Fuse, Fuzed.
I like that. It was super creative. When I saw that, I was like, that's Infused. Okay.
Another new way I think is the Puffco. I think that's I tried my first ever Puffco dab at the Wolfpack event. Shout out to Jay O'Keefe from Bailey's. He gave me my first ever. You remember that, man? That was crazy. Next level stuff. It's so portable and easy. You just simply put the concentrate there. It's already preheated, and then you just cap it.
Yeah, man. They're going all out with the Puffco like pieces. Like there's some that cost up to like $3,000. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy to see how expensive it is, but not only that, but just how innovative everything is and how different you can consume. And it's just, we're finding out so many new ways. Like they're coming out like out of nowhere,
Yeah. So those are the ones that I know of on top of my head.
And then there's the dab tabs. I saw Adam Ill was posting that on Instagram where it's already like you heat up your rig, and then it's like a little tablet or a capsule
That's
you put
crazy.
on top, and then it's already ready.
That is crazy. I don't know. It's different.
That's like regulated. It's like that's next level stuff. Definitely. But another new thing it is Monday, so we were mentioning Inspired Mondays. Who are you featuring, man? We gotta talk about that. I like that.
Yeah, as some of you might know, I have a continuous thing every Monday. I have Inspired Mondays where I feature someone from the community, and I ask them, very similar, same 3 questions, and wow. As soon as I get them, I literally want to post them, but I can't. I need to hold them. I have to be like, oh, I get to be the only one in the world, obviously, besides the other person that wrote it, that knows this story, and it's like. It means a lot to me that people actually share their stories and they realize that it's a safe space for them to communicate whatever they want to communicate and share whatever they want to share, because that's the whole purpose. By them sharing their story, hopefully in return, it inspires others to do the same. And it has.
It does. It
when I first started it, it was like a couple people. And then now it's like there's actually a backlog. So like if you want to be part of it, let me know ASAP. That way I could put you on there. And that way you could be in the queue, So yeah, that's what we do. And today we featured Stephanie. She works at Viola. Shout out to Viola. I met her through IG, and she liked what I was doing, and I just quote like with no pressure. That's how I tell everyone: is this something you'd like to be part of? Take your time with it. I really want you to think about it because it is something important. And she did it out of nowhere. She just sent it to my email, and I was blown away. And I was like, okay, this is a good one. This one, definitely, they're all great. But this one, she talks about, being raped and abused and all these things. And it's just like, it's heart hitting. So I was like, wow, like that's inspiration. If you ever needed any inspiration or the beginning of the week, you're usually kind of like a little like, oh, it's the beginning of the week. And you want a little pick-me-up, check out Inspired Mondays.
Exactly. You on Inspired by Cannabis official on that Instagram every Monday.
Every Monday.
And if, like you said, if you want to get in, just simply throw a DM, hit him up, and he'll get you in there.
Yeah, definitely. Or email me. My email's on there too. It's nothing complicated. It's just you want to be part of it, and let's do it.
Yeah, it's fun. I was a part of it a couple weeks back, but
Yeah.
it was amazing. It really
How
makes you
was that
think.
experience being part of it?
Honestly, the self-reflection and the idea of thinking of the word inspiration and being inspired, it was just it didn't take as much focus because it was just clear. As soon as you made your mind clear, it was just, and you tuned yourself to how it connects to your personal life, which I think everyone is starting to do on the Inspired Mondays. I'm noticing, it's not necessarily like just about cannabis. It's about how it's embedded in your life, and how it gets you through
Well, actually,
things.
with you, you're the first person I switched the second question. Before, it used to be like, name someone or one person that inspires you in your life and why. And then I converted it with you was how does inspiration how does cannabis inspire you to be a better person?
Yeah,
So
that's
now
true.
that's a whole nother level,
That's
because
true.
it's like now we're actually talking about cannabis and how it directly inspires you.
And now it shows on your Inspired Mondays how it makes people better and how it helps them grow. And that's
Yeah, a
what's
lot of
important
people
right
they
now.
they share it. They repost it, they share it with their friends repost it, and it's building
It's great.
community. It's like everyone sees it and they're just like, "Wow, I didn't know that about that person." Like, how long have you been talking to them? How long have you known them and you didn't know that? Like,
Yeah.
now you do. And that's the whole point, to open that line of communication for people to share, because a lot of people that I know in life in general, we love to keep things to ourselves, and then we just hold it and hold it and hold it, and like a boiling pot out of nowhere, boom, we explode. And it shouldn't be that way, obviously, but we all have our good and bad days. But through that platform, that opportunity is like for you to share like whatever is on your chest, because those three questions are very generic, so
Yeah.
you could kind of play with it. That was the whole point. I didn't want it to be like super strict where it's like, oh, I have to talk about this and that. No, like whatever you feel, share it.
Which is great. You create that safe space. And that's something we're trying to do too. And I really like how it inspires me to every day. It gets me going for the week. Like that Monday motivation. That's one of the good things that I like to see is you're inspired by Mondays, honestly. So, man, I'm just grateful for how cannabis balances our lives. Especially for me, that's what we want to showcase is the balance of cannabis and how you use it to return your body and your mind to homeostasis. So I gotta ask you, man, how do you personally balance cannabis in your life?
I smoke it every day. That's how I balance it, short and sweet. But no, but to be serious about it. Yeah, I almost every day. And I honestly like to smoke with others. I don't mind smoking every now and then. Like they say, there's a little thing where it's like one blunt by yourself is self care. But I see that, but it depends on how you feel during the day. So I try to do it. Honestly, going to all these events is kind of a typical thing, at least for me. A lot of people might have a different perspective if they don't go to events as much as we do. Um, for what I know and experience, people like to smoke when for their mental well being. Like that's why they're all into CBD. That helps too. Not as effective as THC, because you definitely need THC for pain, and it's just more stimulating. So just hanging out with friends and smoking social sessions.
Yeah, yeah. Enjoying I like being around people too, being social, hence the
Mm-hmm.
word socials.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking and communicating, that's really big in my life. And I think that by balancing cannabis, like I balance it with my stress in my work life and everything else. So I smoke almost as much as I have to as I work.
You know what? I feel like when you
It's like,
smoke cannabis and you get inspired, super inspired, you're like, it's kind of like when you go to the gym and you like run, you know?
yeah, and you
And
get like
like,
on a runner's high.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
same thing. But I've noticed too, it's just like you could also implement like cannabis in your workout. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just, but it's part of realizing that everybody has their own balance. Like we smoke on the daily.
Hmm.
Some people, they control it in a different setting because, their tolerance is lower or for personal reasons. That's just how they balance it. Some people do it once a month. Some people do it only when they're hanging out with other people, just social stoners. That's what they say. I don't like to use that word, but that's just part of that. So what I'm trying to say is like to each their own and how they balance it. It's all about finding your own personal balance.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess the best answer should have just been like I smoke based on what my body tells me. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it tells me, hey,
100%.
I
I
want a
feel
little
that.
bit of THC, then I smoke. But I'm not gonna wake up in the morning and just smoke just to smoke. Like I actually, my body needs to tell me. So just being very aware.
I actually do a lot as far as like personally balancing. I do, for example, shout out to Violet Flame Medicinals, Gina. She's amazing. Yeah, honestly, she's looking to be on the podcast sometime soon, so I can't wait to get that
Oh,
going.
nice.
Yeah, so she actually we exchanged. I got one of those CBD agave sweeteners again, and I just use that in my coffee. I think it's just a better alternative than sugar, and also it helps balance. When I get when I drink a lot of coffee, I get that elevated heartbeat,
You
and
get
that
jumpy.
CBD mellows me down. I feel like it really helps me balance that. So that's just one way. Another way I balance with the THC is just sort of the mental stress and things like that. So, and also, what else do I do? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, edibles I try to stay away from. I really try to stay away from.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
took edibles the other day.
And there's nothing
Yesterday.
wrong with them.
Yesterday.
Like,
No, it was nothing wrong, but it
yeah.
was like it's the delay effect, you know?
That's
Like
what
it
me
just
too.
takes longer
hmm
because your body has to digest it. And then after it's like I recently learned that you're something within your gut, it's like it actually um makes it like 5 times more like than you would if you would just smoke.
hmm
So it's like times five whatever you smoke. Think
And
about
the
that.
potency is way
And then it
stronger.
takes longer and then it just hits you out of nowhere all at once.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, I can't move. I'm
Yeah.
stuck in my car.
For me, it's just like I think I already smoke enough flower and wax as it is that edibles just take me over the top. I think that's what I realized. That's just like I said, it's about finding your balance, and
Yeah,
edibles
because
just
there's some people
they
that
tip that
just
scale.
want edibles because
And
they
that's
don't want to
fine.
smoke,
Exactly.
So it's all to their own. At the end of the day, you're the one putting it in your body.
Yeah.
No one should ever tell you how to smoke
And
or
even
what's
yeah.
too much or too little or none of that.
And even for those who don't smoke as much, I want to know that perspective, because most of the people that I personally know don't smoke. They smoke as often as me or close to it. They're pretty heavy frequently stoners. Like, yeah. So I want to know people and how they balance it that only do it like once a month and sort of where they do it. Like you mentioned having a blunt alone. Like sometimes I do that, when I like to go to the beach and be at a scenic view. That helps me with like self meditation, self
That sounds good.
evaluation, things like that.
Yeah.
But also I like smoking around social people and just talking
Vibing.
about, yeah, vibing. Recently, I wanted to talk about, you said that you've been over the weekend, you went to a couple of events. I know I wasn't able to make it out there, but I want to talk about that. What talk about what you did over the weekend, man.
Let me try to remember. So I don't think I did it. Oh yeah, Friday was my birthday.
Hey,
And
happy late
I
birthday,
thank
man.
you. I spent it with a friend. We got some sushi, and then after that, I went to hang out with my buddy Joey out in downtown LA.
Shout out
And
Joey.
it was so random. We were there, and then I saw Abracadabra, the people. Have you
Oh
heard of
yeah.
them?
Mm-hmm.
They throw
Yeah.
festivals and all that, and they were just there having a good time. And they dabbed me out and gave me a sticker and told them what I was all about. And I had no idea who they were. Like I
Wow.
had an idea, but then I was like, I don't know if that's them. That happens all the time when you see people or you're not sure. So
Yeah.
you just like go and then you confirm. You talk to them. Hey, what are you about? And yeah, that was them, and I was just like, that's cool. It was just random things like that always happen to me. I'm just like, that's why it's always important to be like respectful, like no matter what,
Yeah. Just always be
just in general, because it's like you don't know who you're talking to, and you shouldn't be any different or depending on anyone's status. But that's
exactly.
another topic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was there and it was awesome. And I had a good night. I had a great birthday. I didn't want to do too much because I did have my first sponsored event on Saturday. It was with the Bud Brothers. They're with Lit Events and it
Mm-hmm.
was lit. Definitely lit. It was on downtown LA, the spot on Main. So shout out to Spot Out in Maine.
Shout out.
That's
I gotta make it
it's
out
a
there
cool
next time.
place. And it was really it was very inspiring, to be honest. Like, there's a speaker that was a tennis player, and he shared his story, and he's never shared it with anyone. And just the things that he was talking about, how his family and even the players he was with never accepted cannabis. It was just like a
Wow.
no in like his world. And it was literally the first time that he shared his story. It was there that night. He had it written down and everything. So,
Wow.
excuse me. And I was just, the room was super silent. Everyone was just like feeling it. Like, this was real stuff. Like, everyone was just like listening attentively. And at the end, we literally just all clapped. And, it's like
Yeah.
already the tail end of the event. It's like 8 or 9. So everyone's really inspired. And it's like, yeah, like they just went all out. It was like, it was cool.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
So and that was the focus of the event. It was breaking the stigma to bring awareness with athletes and cannabis. And as the people that know me, I'm always all about being an activist for veterans, for athletes, for anyone. The whole purpose is to normalize cannabis because it's just
Exactly.
a plant at the end of the day. Like, hello. So that was the reason why I supported that event. I was part of it, and I was there, handing out these really cool stickers here.
Hey, yeah, yeah, they're nice, and I got one right here on the bottle. Yep.
Yeah, everyone, they liked them, and they're like, "This is cool. I like it. Give me a couple stickers." So I was just talking about it and saw friends there, and we all had a great time. Ghost Vape, shout out to Ghost Vape, they were there as well. High Rise Media, if you're not familiar with them, they have a really good cannabis media team in general. They like do videos for the top influencers in the industry, and
They're
they
really well known. That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
they're really good guys, and they're like based off in Long Beach. And every time I see them, I'm just like, hey, what's up, how's it going? Like,
Very
j-
friendly and respectful. That's
yeah,
cool. Good
definitely.
vibes.
Definitely all good vibes. It was all good vibes. And I took my friend Jessica. She's um she's kind of curious on Instagram, if you
Shout
want to.
out. She's kind of curious on Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's awesome. I met her at
she's
ILBC.
coming up. She's a rising star for sure. She's very she takes initiative, and she's all about it. So I appreciate her support and trying to help her wherever I can. And I'm looking forward to her journey and everyone else's, because when you think about it, we're all growing together.
Exactly.
When we support each other, we're all growing together. And that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so nice to see like people that you follow on Instagram in person and just be like, "Hey, man, like I just like showing love and giving support, motivating people." And just
Right,
be like,
because it's kind of, you're just letting them know, like, hey, we're in it together, kind of thing. Because we are.
yeah,
We're
and
all
I
in
want to
our own
support the good
lane, but
brands.
we're all supporting each other.
And I want to support as many companies and as many people because there's a lot more people than companies. I feel like, and I feel like what I'm trying to say is when you meet a CEO of a cannabis company, like sometimes they're just like regular people like me and you.
Oh
It's
yeah,
crazy.
definitely.
It's different. But also you run into all sorts of people. That's what's amazing about it. Like I know that it's amazing to see your business grow and get your first booth, right? Like I had my first booth at the High LBCA, and that's the only time I've ever had one. So that taking that step, I feel like it's small stepping stones into getting deeper in the cannabis
Yeah,
industry,
and this
you know?
one kind of just dropped on my lap, and it was like, just hey, for supporting someone in particular. It was the one of the Butt brothers. He was like, for supporting us for a while now. Like, we want you to be part of it, and he was supportive, and we made it happen. It was really quick, and when I realized I was gonna be part of it, I was like, oh, I'm really part of it. I need to, get up and do things, like
Yeah.
make calls and shoot out some emails, because I
Yeah.
need I need some merch, and I need these stickers just to be presentable. And it worked out. Like the night before, I couldn't even sleep. I went to sleep at 4. I was like,
That grind, man.
yeah, I was just like, nah. Because when I do things, I want to make sure that they're done right.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
perfect, but at least, your work shows,
Mhm.
I want the work to speak for itself, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's honestly seeing you get to that level is inspiring me to step up my game and get more organized
Gotta
with
level up together,
everything.
man.
Definitely, man. So that's why we're breaking things up into seasons. I'm trying to get more organized with getting guests on, and it's just a whole nother. I just can't wait for season 2. It's gonna be
Yeah, there's gonna
amazing.
be so many topics.
Oh man, so many big things
And
coming.
what I like about your guys' podcast is that you guys like to have those conversations that nobody else is having,
Definitely.
you know, and it's all about education because that's the only way we're going to normalize it is by talking about it like it is a normal thing. It's normal and it is normal for us, but not
Exactly.
for people that don't consume. You know, they're
Exactly.
still learning their ways.
And in order for us to make it normal, maybe at least like we don't show them because a lot of people don't like the smell or to see it. But if we can explain it on a platform like this, that can at least help normalize and help them give insight onto what it's like in the lifestyle of being a cannabis consumer and also in the industry. It helps that. So any way to support the community is what we're all about. That's how me.
Just give out
Yeah,
topicals. Just
exactly.
start giving them out to everyone.
Exactly. Just giving out shirts.
They'll be like, it actually works.
I know, right?
And
But
they're like, "What is it? Oh, it's cannabis infused. That's why."
man, all this talk
I'm just
about
kidding. I don't recommend it.
all this talk about flower though, man, it's getting me ready for that socials break. You already know we gotta for the consumers, we gotta show them love. So let's get out there. We're gonna start our socials break, but
Let's
let's
smoke
show
this.
them real quick what's going on.
We have
What you got
a
there?
couple nugs here.
Oh, okay, that's what we're gonna be on today. Okay,
Some London pound cake from Cookies.
shout out
Oh
Cookies,
my gosh.
man, big company. They're just doing big things. I'm proud of them. And you got in the Stash Logic jar? Okay, okay. That's like next level things. Talk about new innovative ways to hold your cannabis is the Stash Logic jar right
You
there.
always gotta, try out all the newest things. Why not? If you
Exactly.
can.
All right, well let's get to it. We're gonna take a socials break and then we'll be back in a little bit. Hey everyone, we're back from our socials break. Oh man, it was another great time. I love getting inspired with my boy Inspired by Cannabis. Um, so while we were there, we were thinking of other things we could talk about, and one thing that came to mind was the fact that we both have been consuming frequently for quite some time now. But for the new consumers, I was thinking, what are some ways that they can acquire cannabis or they can learn about where to go to get it?
Okay. So you're talking about like people that never smoked before,
Exactly.
but they're curious.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of curious.
They kind of curious. Shout out, she's kind of curious.
Um, I would say, depending on where you live, I would honestly check the local cannabis coalition, like the actual website of the state. And then if not that, you could also check like if you're in Long Beach area, the LBCA, they have great resources of information of the legal dispensaries within the city, and go to a legal city like dispensary, because you might ask somebody and they might direct you to one of the ones that are not legal. And we know there's a lot here in this area,
Yeah.
but I also recently seen people being arrested for going to those type of dispensaries, and I wouldn't want that on anyone that I care about. I wouldn't obviously want that on myself. So just do basic research, that those are the two best things I could think of. I don't know. Do you know of anything else?
Well, I know if you're in Orange County, there's the OC Normal. They also have a
Oh, they do.
resource where they can explain where the where you can find the legal shops. I mean,
Right.
People's OC is right there off the 55. You could see it.
Oh yeah,
That big old that's fully legal.
that was
so.
the first one I went to when cannabis was actually legal. Like,
Really?
yeah, because
It's
I would see it
awesome.
all the time
Mm-hmm.
next to the freeway, and then I was like, I have to go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there on January 1st.
Definitely a must go to if you're ever there.
Because the way I did it before was like I would have someone that had a red card, I would give them a ride, and then it was like,
There you go. You found a way to make it work.
yeah. So I still would get whatever I wanted, but that day it was awesome.
That's nice.
I was all like happy, like it's history.
Another way I think that you can acquire cannabis is through word of mouth, but also it comes back down to what you were saying, like depending on who you're speaking to and what their knowledge is.
Well,
on
because right now
cannabis.
there's so much misinformation.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
sort of-
entire industry that even you could get a fake cart. That's
Yeah.
a whole nother topic. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we know these things because we go to all these events and we just keep up and we educate ourselves, right? Like everyone should. But for those that don't, or maybe they're even older, like we're talking about the older generation,
The elderly
they're all
people,
using
yes.
it for like for the better reasons, which I'm glad they're able to at least do that. They've
Yeah,
been taking all those pharmaceuticals their entire life, and finally, they actually have, or they're getting relief.
yeah. It's finally good to see a much healthier alternative and see how it's
Because that
really
wasn't there when
impacting
we
their
were
life.
children.
Yeah.
It wasn't as available.
Mhm. And there's a lot of things with our health, and as we get older, our bodies are breaking down, and one way to balance that is cannabis. So it's good to see that happening. But
True.
for it, but at the same time, like you know, elderly people aren't necessarily as new to technology or as tech savvy, so it's hard for them,
Oh yeah,
to.
we didn't talk about weed maps. We didn't
Hmm.
talk about technology. So
Yeah,
for some those that are able to use a phone or
or that are
general,
tech savvy, or just no.
just general.
Yeah.
It's because we're all into phones now. Who
Hmm.
doesn't know how to use a phone? But
Hmm.
it's like the weed maps,
Hmm.
right?
That's a big, yeah. But the thing about Weedmax is you don't know which shop, if it's gonna be legal or illegal. It really depends. You have to really look at that. I can tell which ones are sometimes, but even then I could be wrong.
You're right.
Hmm.
That's true.
That's another thing. It's like, sometimes when I read up on stories, or I hear things on like the Netflix documentary "We the People." They were talking about how they get it from like a local dispensary, but I believe it wasn't a legal shop. That's like a risk because they so much misinformation can cause a lot of injury and downplay down the road in your life. Especially if with cannabis, if you like, it's that risk of going to these illegal shops and getting arrested. Like you could get arrested just for being in there,
Right.
at the wrong place at the wrong time, and then it's that misinformation could have led you there. So it's important to know and trust the resources and trust the people that know that the cannabis education have cannabis knowledge. And I'm not trying to say that I know so much because I don't. I'm trying to learn every single day, and I really care about this, but at the same time, it's important to constantly grow and learn and get better.
Yeah.
So, um, another thing that I think we should shed light on in this industry is social media, because I know it's hard for a lot of startup companies or even influencers or people like me and you to create a social media platform and really put all of our time and energy into it outside of what we do in our daily lives.
Okay.
So I want to show some light on that and give and show people sort of what we do and our tactics, and how we balance that and sort of our things. So
I would say make sure that you're following the right accounts. Like if there's a certain type of person that you like that explains things or makes content that you actually appreciate, go ahead and follow them and support them and be engaging and talk to them like a regular person would. That's number one. Because a lot of people just follow what the top whatever's trending, like the top of the hashtag or like the Explorer page, like that's the first thing they go to. And it's like now there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people that they have their own Instagrams, and just because they have like 20 followers doesn't make them any lesser of a good, account versus someone that has like 23 million.
mm-hmm.
So that's what I like to do, and I've always done that since the very beginning because we all started at zero.
Yeah, exactly. We all
Okay.
started from somewhere. I
So
think for me, it's about realizing what kind of content you want to put out. I think for me, it's about self evaluation and thinking, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to get from 0 to 1,000? And
yeah, but that's you. That's not
that's
the
true.
typical like person that is just gonna take pictures of himself smoking weed and blowing it out.
That's true, and there is like a market for that. There are people who do that, and that's their style, and that's how they create
Right.
their base.
I agree
You
with
know what I
that.
mean? And to each their own. But for me, I try to think more how it ties with your morals and values, because especially when you're building a brand versus building yourself, it's definitely a different lifestyle. Because I can be as personal as I want, but I could also just sort of just be like, oh no, I'm just a brand. There's also that difference. You know?
I agree with that, and that's kind of I like how you said that because that's kind of the situation I'm in, right? So I have my personal beliefs, what things I advocate for, but I also am starting the brand, I'm starting the business where it's like I need to show that inspiration because that's what it's all about. So it's like everyone has their good and bad days. You can't always be inspiring, right? But there's always going to be another person that might need it. Like you don't know, they might have a bad day.
Sure.
So by you staying positive, you're actually inspiring people just for being positive.
Exactly.
Okay, because that think about it. What I just said. The other person is not. Is there's the other end of the spectrum, so they're negative, or they're depressed, or they're just having a bad day. So that's the whole point of Inspired by Cannabis. Let's just bring the positivity and being like, man, today I'm not having a good day, but I'm inspired by listening to Inspired by Mondays, or just talking about how cannabis inspires you,
or even just simply smoking cannabis and using that, and getting inspired to think more creatively.
True, like what we just did.
Exactly. I think that especially when you're building your base, it's also important to build consistency in social media, like constantly posting. That's always a must. Everybody knows that. And then also engaging with your audience. That's another thing. I feel like if you're new to the industry and you're starting up, just you got to be there. You got to be present. It's more, like social media should be used as a tool to get you to see face to face and build those relationships, and then you build that network together and you build your base.
Yeah, because I met so many people through Instagram.
But there are other ways that companies network, and they just simply do it through strictly social media and just ship them some merch, and that happens too. It's just it all depends on how you build your network and how you build your base, and like I said, what content you're putting out and things like that.
Yeah, he also want to kind of have, for people that are serious about like building up their followership, everything what we just said, but also number one, like I guess it's important to have a plan. Plan on what type of content you want to put out. What do you want to get across to your audience?
Yes.
Like, what do they want you to remember you at 3 a.m? They just smoked a blunt, and they go to your random page and your thing, and they're like, oh, are they gonna stay on your page or not? And if they're not, then it's like you need to kind of mix it up with entertainment, and then at the same time add education in there. Because if you do that, then you have audience, you have something for everyone. Exactly. Those for that just want to see the cannabis, and those actually want to learn.
And it's so crazy because the audience of cannabis is so wide that you have people who just want to see only cannabis. You do have that. There is, but it's so big enough that like, if that's the route you want to go, you can go that route. But if that's not, there are so many other options. And I think I'm just grateful for the fact that we have so much variety in the industry and in the people. There's so many different people, so many different backgrounds, so many different stories.
It's Instagram, man. You're having businesses on Instagram or because of Instagram.
Exactly. And like, think about it. Without the Instagram, Inspired Mondays wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't be talking about that. We wouldn't be on this podcast. All of it. We use this as a tool. That's why I think it's important to understand that social media is a networking base, and also it's a communication. It's part of the way we talk, the way we live now. It's totally different than when it was like 10 years ago.
Where do you think I got my my hashtag on the back? Be inspired from.
Remember when hashtagging was just it was like big, and like it's still big, but it's a big marketing tool, like keeping your hashtags on your comments and things like that. But before, when it was like, oh, hashtag this, hashtag that, it was part of the lingo and part of the way you talk.
Because it was new, so everyone was super excited to use it,
and it changes your communication.
Yeah,
that's just how social media is embedded in our lives. It's deeper than it's almost as deep as cannabis, but not.
I agree with all that, but you gotta make sure to remind yourself that Instagram is just Instagram. It's not real. People just post what they want you to see. I at least do that. I don't have no worries about saying that out loud, but it's the truth.
Yeah, that's why I said like you use it as a tool to build the relationships with people. Because at the end of the day, there's a person behind that profile.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, so then when you're like being a bully online, it's like, what? Like, that's an actual person. Like, be respectful. It just goes back to being respectful.
Exactly. But some of the things we got coming up, man, I know I
Mhm.
want to talk about big events because you mentioned having a plan. I think it's important that we start planning the huge events like Wolfpack. They're having one on August 10th and 11th back in Desert Hot Springs. That's a big one I want to go back to. It's gonna be a
I'm
crazy
actually gonna be
event.
part of it.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
right.
one of the sponsors, and so
Yeah.
I'm blessed, and it's led up to this point, and honestly, I'm excited. Like it's gonna be meaningful because I'll be able to explain more of my brand at the same time, like be part of the family that we already are. You know?
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
continue to make those good memories together.
I'm really excited for you, man. You're on the come up. You're on your grind. I'm proud of you, and we're
Hmm.
gonna just continue to build that base together, man. I'm really excited. Another thing is like the Hall of Flowers in September 18th and 19th, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna be. I really, really, really want to go to that. That's something I'm trying to
yeah.
gear
Hall of
up for.
Flowers definitely is a must. It's kind of
Mhm.
like the who's who of the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
Like if you're serious about it, that's when you see like the cannabis industry is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just LA.
I want to see how big it is.
So
That's why I'm excited for it. So
yeah,
that's something that I'm on the lookout for. And then like we're on the wrapping up our season 1, and we're gonna take a little break, starting that, and get ready for season 2. So I'm just really excited for the future, and I really want to get all the ducks in the row, and just build it up, man. It's just really exciting. I'm really thankful to have you here on episode 10.
thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, man. Anytime, man. So, thank you for viewing us, and for those of you that are new, we hope you continue to watch us. And thank you for all the 21 subscribers on the We Too We watching, man. I'm really proud. Thank you so much.